There. It's a sunny day here in Colorado Springs, so greetings from here in Colorado. So first of all, I'm going to show you this painting behind me and then tell you what inspired me to paint it. It's from my children's book called There Once Was a Kitty Who Traveled, and it's about Digit the cat, and she travels all over the United States, which we actually did travel with her. A lot of places that I illustrated in here, and I also had her go other places throughout the world. So here she is in Hawaii, and she's swimming with her friend, the little green sea turtle. So a number of years ago, my husband and I were able to go to Hawaii. We stayed in Maui, and right across from where we stayed, we were on North Maui, and just across the channel in front of where we were is Molokai, which is about 8 miles across the channel. And this channel is a very shallow channel, and it's also quite warm. And it's a place where the humpback whales come from Alaska every year. And in the winter time, in the months from, I believe it's around from November to February, March, something around in there, they birth their calves, and then they end up and they take the long 3,000 some mile trek on back up to Alaska, where they stay for the summer, and then they come back again the next year to birth their calves. And so we were privileged enough to see some of the whales there breaching in the waters among spinner dolphins that would precede them, and they were just playing, and it was just such joy just to get to see that. They were probably about 5 miles out in the water. We got to see that. So it was real exciting. And of course, there are all kinds of other wildlife that are there in the waters, and among them are the green sea turtles, like this little guy right here. But there was one day that we were inside our lanai, and it was, I don't know, around noon or something like that, maybe early afternoon. And we heard this groaning outside, and I thought, well, what the heck is that? It was a very unusual sound. And I went out on the lanai to see out there, just on the edge of the shoreline, there were all of these rocks, and on top of one of the rocks, there was this rock right here, like this, and this green sea turtle was high centered on this rock with the middle of its body, and it's taking all its legs trying to move, its front legs and its back legs trying to get out, and he had no leverage. There was nothing of which could get out, and he or she was just trying to move, and it was high centered and it was stuck. And so we just had to wait for the tide to come in. So I took my camera and I went down 3 flights of stairs, went around the building, came around to a hillside that was above where it was, and I just sat kind of low in the grass, not to disturb it any more than it already was disturbed. And I just watched, and it waited, and I just kind of patiently waited, just like, I'll be with you, little turtle, just, or big turtle, and just I'll just stay here with you, while you have to wait. And the tide would come in, and it would barely reach it, and then it would go out, and it kept coming in a little higher and higher, where finally the tide came up high enough, and it just floated right off and swam away. But it went to get out into the open waters, which is where it was headed, and it couldn't go any further because there were these big rocks that were vertically placed out there, that were these great big, they were black rocks that were kind of from the volcanic rock, I'm assuming, a lot of black rock around there. And there were these big pillar type rocks where it couldn't go swimming this way, and it had to wait for a while for the tide to come in. And these were probably, I don't know, 12 feet high or something like that. So it was maybe at 4 or 5 feet high with the waters underneath it, and it couldn't get through because it was too wide to get through these narrow spaces between the pillars. So it waited and it waited and it waited, and the tide kept coming in and white waters kept coming in, and finally there was a great big wave came through and white waters washed through, and that turtle went like this, and it went right through the pillars. It just went sideways. It knew just what to do. It went sideways and went right through the pillars. And it got out into the open water, and it swam away, and I stood in the grass and I yelled, yay! I was just celebrating and just so happy for this wonderful whale. And to my surprise, there were probably a dozen, maybe 15 people behind me watching from the lanais up above me. It was about a 5-level building, and all these people are on their lanais also watching the turtle, and everyone was celebrating and surprised and happy, and so joyously surprised and happy for this turtle as it made its way, and it naturally did what it needed to do to get to the open waters, and it reached its liberation. So I had an opportunity to speak to a few of those people later on to find out that they were from all different countries. And lucky for me, they spoke English. And we just got a chance to share, to say, my goodness, isn't it amazing that here we were, all of these different cultures, all these different people, all celebrating this one turtle's challenge to get out into the open waters. And we were there celebrating for it. So again, it was this grand surprise. And what did it teach me? It taught me about patience. This turtle, I'm sure, wasn't sitting there thinking, I need to be patient for the water to come through. But that's what I was thinking, my goodness, whenever I get stuck, whenever I'm challenged with something, if I could just be patient, because something will come along, I will be inspired by something, or there'll be someone that will help me, and I will be able to move through more easily and get to the other side of that challenge. And I will be liberated. I will get to celebrate. I will get to do what I want to do. So again, it was one of those grand surprises that I wasn't planning on going to Hawaii to think, I'm going to see a stuck turtle and learn some things from it. But it was just one of the many beautiful things I learned in the time that we were there for a couple of weeks of time. There's many more stories about Hawaii, some in Kauai, some in Maui. And so if you want to hear those, tune again next time or whenever, because I'm going to keep doing this for a while. And you'll find out after a while why I'm doing this. I'll kind of tune you in here pretty quickly as to what it is I'm doing. But I just wanted to share with you this great story, because things happen each and every day that can teach us whatever it is we need to know. And we can be surprised by other people or animals or nature or just some wonderful thing that happens during the day. These grand surprises that we celebrate. We get to do something even greater because we've learned something wonderful. And again, just like all these people that were behind me on the lanai, they were all celebrating the liberation of this turtle and its freedom. We're all in it together. So until next time, take care and have a good weekend. Bye.